Okay, Kevin. So I think one source of stress in the workplace could be from criticism from the boss or from coworker. Simply, you get criticized, you get um, some feedback, even it may be constructive, but it just doesn't handle well, like doesn't fit well to your ego or to your pride. So the kind of criticism I'm referring to is not about bad behavior of the boss. So there's another video about workplace jerk, but this time let's focus on criticism that is worthy or deserved. So let's say if I work very bad, I'm just purely incompetent in handling the work, and I submit work that is far from ideal, then obviously I deserve to be criticized, right? But it's tough to swallow when I get criticized in the face. So when that situation happens, what can I do? Or how can I make myself feel not very worst, basically?
Well, if you actually care about what you do, uh, it's pretty hard not to feel anything. I think it's very natural for you to feel hurtful, uh, disappointed, um, maybe even angry if you don't think that you deserve that level of criticism, um, the way it's being delivered. And again, the things that I'm going to talk about now requires a level of clear-headedness to look at this. So I wouldn't recommend you think about it on the day that you got this communication, because you will be full of emotions, and whatever I say to you right now probably wouldn't make sense on that day, right? So on a relatively calmer day, after a few days, you settle in, I think the first thing I would uh, think about is, what is actually my performance, or what is really the quality of my work, um, relative to what the criticism is about. And you need to be fairly objective about it. And sometimes it's hard to be objective, because you can't help but feeling a little bit personal, because it's your work. I put time in it. Now, maybe, and sometimes it does, that I actually put a lot of time into it. However, I may not put the time in the right place, on the right details, and that place let me down. But the rest is actually quite good. But I didn't get a praise from that. I only get criticized for the part that I did wrong, because it was so obvious, right? And maybe that is more important, more consequential. An example would be, maybe I did a presentation and all the fonts is beautiful, all the graphics perfect, but the numbers are wrong. Okay. And your boss saying to you, this is a bad presentation. But he didn't compliment on my graphics and fonts. So you might feel it's unfair. So once you recall the conversation, and once you looked at your own quality of the work, and this is very important, but it's not natural and it's quite hard to do, so you might have to take a few attempts. It's very important not to get personal about this. Work is work. So you look at the work and you need to somehow remove you as an identity from the work, and just look at the piece of work. Okay. If someone gives me this piece of work, what do I think? If I need to present this piece of work to my client, knowing this has certain error in it, and I didn't know about it, and the client questioned me about this, and I look like an idiot, what would I think? And this is what I'm talking about. Don't take it personally, but step into the shoe of the consumer of your work. So you're the creator of that work. Now, presuming that you're the consumer of that work, and just being honest with yourself, could you have done better? Should you have done better? Was it beyond your ability to do better? Now, if all three questions are no, I should have done better, I could have done better, it is not within outside of my ability, then obviously there is a clear answer that you could do better and you should. And so the criticism, if you want to call it that, but you also could call it an assessment. Is it fair? If it is fair, then it's just a fact, isn't it? It's not something that is targeted at you per se. It is targeted at the quality of this piece of work. Whoever did it. This time it happened to be you. So you need to fix it. That's all. Right. And I know emotion comes in, especially the first time. First time of everything's hard. Okay. I remember my first time, my manager actually used a swear word in notes and tell me something that is wrong. I looked at it. I mean, I didn't cry, but I didn't feel good for days, right? Because no one ever swore at me. But did I deserve it? I kind of did because I left it delayed for so long and I just didn't move on it. And the client was waiting, they were chasing, and I didn't respond. And I looked at it and say, well, if I were the manager and I'm receiving these kind of email from a client, how would I feel about it? I'd be angry too, because the client pays us a lot of money for this. Okay. So get to the truth, get to the honest truth. Okay. And then just look at it as a piece of work, not your piece of work, a piece of work. Could this and should this piece of work be done far better and at the standard that you have been criticized for, right? And if it should have, and you think that it is within your own expectation that you could have done it, then I think the next step is just to accept it and say, okay, I screwed up. And say sorry, because yeah, I hired you, I paid you to solve my problems. You didn't solve my problems properly. I think you should apologize and fix the problem. And I think that's what you should do. But more importantly, no one likes criticism. Me, me included, right? So to avoid the next criticism, then let this be a learning experience that either your attention to detail, your your focus at work, and maybe just your overall understanding of the construction of that piece of work is lacking. Whatever the combination of things are, you need to learn not to make the same mistake again. And next time, if you really want to be sure, you might want someone to maybe do a second check of your work before you finalize. So all of this is just, I'm emphasizing on how we grow as a person, how we learn from our own mistakes in order to grow and get into the habit of doing so and not use mistake as a purely negative emotional trigger, but rather a learning mechanism that is not personal to you, but it's just a path of growth, a normal path of growing. We have to make mistakes in order to grow. We learn nothing from success. Think about it, Francis. What do you learn when you're successful? Nothing. You keep doing the things that you already know how to do, and you're successful. Great. You feel good about it, but you learn nothing. So,
or the worst about success is the success is not attributed to your ability or skills, but luck. And you think that it is the way to go. And then you double down on that until you meet failure. And you're now questioning yourself, like just questioning your whole life. What have I done? Right. So
right.
Yeah, that's even worse than failure.
That is worse.
In the first place. Yeah. And there's also a seemingly paradoxical or contradiction that we should be self-accountable to our outcome and to understand ourselves, the way we do things, and our ability. But at the same time, we should not take it personal when we get criticized or when the outcome is bad. So how do we resolve this seemingly contradiction? Like, yeah.
It takes a bit of practice. It's not easy. And the work thing is no different than a personal thing. For example, like relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, or mother and son, father and son, those kind of relationship. When a person of authority communicates to you that says, hey, you've done something wrong, the default reaction is defensive and saying, no, I didn't, or hey, it wasn't that bad, or why are you yelling at me, or something like that. Especially if the person criticizing you carries an attitude that you don't think is deserved, right? I didn't do something that bad. Why are you using this kind of attitude, right? And then it kind of sets you on a, you're putting up the wall. You're not listening. You're not receptive, okay? And that's very understandable. I wouldn't too, right? If a person comes in with a bad attitude. But Francis, please understand this. At work, we don't choose our bosses, nor do we choose our parents. They are factors outside of our control. Okay, so sometimes we're lucky and they're quite respectful. And sometimes we're less lucky and they're not as respectful as we hope they should be. So, well, what can we do? We need to put a filter on in our ears. Okay, they're going to say 10 words, but really only 2 words are productive and constructive. So take those 2 words, figure out what that means, and make the conversation as short and sweet as possible. What do I mean by that? Rather than you coming up and creating all sorts of counter arguments and defenses, listen to that, okay? If you want this to be a short conversation, there is only one way, and that is for you to indicate to the person, number one, I heard what you're saying, I understand what you're saying, and I'm going to fix it. That's it, because that's all they want to know. Okay? The minute you start making counter arguments and everything else, they are thinking, hey, you don't get my point. You don't know how important this is. So they're going to give you more examples. And the conversation is going to drag on. And the drama is going to lengthen, which is something you don't want. So if you are, I know you're going to be under an emotional trigger at that time. However, for your own well-being, you're going to suffer, but at least make yourself suffer the minimum by telling that person, say, okay, yep, I understand what you're saying. I heard everything you said. Yep. And yes, I'm going to fix it by tomorrow. Keep your conversation as short and as necessary as possible. Don't utter any word that is unnecessary. Okay. You just want that person to say, okay, then go back and do your work. Okay, good. Then drama's finished. I can go back and live my life and do that stuff, right? So that would be my suggestion. When you find it difficult to control your emotion, is to limit the number of words coming out of your mouth to make that case even worse.
I do have personal experience in that. It's simply like if we come up with all the counter argument, try to defend ourselves, justify, even though we know we are not entirely the one to blame, like the other party also has responsibility, fine. But I've experienced it a few times. So sometimes my default reaction is I'll just suck it up. Okay, my bad, no next time. Or I'll do the opposite or whatever way next time. So I just stop it there, right there. Because if I defend myself, I just prolong it, drag it longer, and give the other person opportunity to continue to fan the frustration and to spread the anger on me. So I'll just suck it up. Okay, bite the bullet, done. And then I will stop the other person like from further talking, right? So, and it's especially easy to do through messaging and email. In person is a bit difficult because the other person can keep talking, right? You can't shut his or her mouth, but message is easier, like, and the other person is not going to spend time typing a long form essay to reply you when you just give like a short sentence. So that is a very good way to damage control, right? Basically, yeah.